Welcome to the week ahead reading for June 29th through July 5th. Today, we're going to be doing a card spread, as in one card for each day of the week, and I'll also talk about the astrology for each day as we go, using fully 7 cards from the Moonchild Tarot Deck. Our first card is the Emperor. This is a grounding energy. This is security. That's the number one word that's coming through. We're feeling secure, and it feels like, oh, finally, what a relief to feel secure in ourselves. It's less about, it could be a little bit of it being material and things that are external from us and circumstances, but it seems like that's a relatively low percentage of why we're feeling secure. It's like a 10%, maybe even a single digit for those where this does apply. Otherwise, it's mostly coming from within us. Now, let's see what the astrology is. We have the Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So this is the sister sign to Capricorn, which I kind of equate a little bit with this energy. This Mercury retrograde, we already have been in the pre-shadow. By the time you're watching this, we've been in it for some time. I talked about it in my June astro weather report. So this stationing means we're officially in the retrograde portion. The hijinks are at the highest point. And this will run through this week and go beyond it, and then we'll have the post shadow. So more details on that in my July as well as June forecasts. So that's happening in the afternoon Eastern time. And then, perfect, we have Capricorn full moon. So the moon's in Capricorn. The moon is in Capricorn, which is the grounded energy. Perfect. Thinking about the long term, thinking about security, stability, that's very earth sign, but also very Capricornian. So I think that this works great for a full moon. Reminder, what we are doing is we are expressing gratitude. We are appreciating what we've achieved. And in this case, what we have achieved is that feeling of safety, security, and grounding. Oh, wow. I don't even know the last time I pulled this card. So this is new for me. The 9 of Pentacles. Wow, okay. I am going to have to read a passage from this one. Whenever we're talking about nines, this has to do with we're really close to the full achievement of whatever that suit is, which is the 10. So 9 is we're basically at the doorstep. We're starting a bit of the reflection process and really understanding where we've come from. Makes sense. We're coming off of the heels of a full moon where we're reflecting anyway. And Pentacles is still the earth energy. So this is appropriate. We still have the moon in an earth sign. That part hasn't changed. And I'm supposed to be reading a passage. So let's look at, there's one line apparently somewhere. For the quote here, what we have is, through the exploration and manifestation of your dreams, you have found your place in the universe and you are radiating joy. So it does complement what we were just talking about a moment ago. The fact that this woman on here, it's like she's flipping her dress around. It's like that dancing lady emoji, kind of feels like that. That is the expression of joy. It's the achievement. She's feeling so secure, so grounded, so supported, and not only am I relaxed, but I am like doing a jig. And that's kind of the feeling we have. So I do love this for us. This sounds really great. And there is other astrology, which I'm obsessed with as a companion here, because early in the morning, so you do want to check your time zone. Eastern time, it's like between 1 and 2 a.m., it's somewhere around there, very early in the morning on Tuesday. We have Jupiter, a planet of abundance, wisdom, insight, that is entering Leo, a playful, expressive sign. So it is a perfect combo, even though that's a fire sign and we're talking about Earth here, which is not complementary. I think these signatures go really nicely together. If you are not familiar with a Jupiter transit, again, look up all my materials where I talk about this, but ultimately Jupiter transits one sign per year. So in essence, this Tuesday is Jupiter's new year. It is beginning a chapter that it has not lived through for around 12 years. So your reference point is go back 12 years in time. That is your last experience of Jupiter in Leo. But what we are doing by turning the page is we are shifting where we want to expand and how we want to grow. So now that we are in a position such that we are finally feeling grounded, secure, happy about it, joyful about it, expressive about it, because we're tapping into that Leo energy, this is the beginning of us also needing to identify. Like, I just feel like there is a turning point between the Tuesday and the unknown, currently Wednesday card, where now we have new information that's coming in. What is it about this area of life where I'm going to need to grow, where I'm going to need to learn more? Because we've been working on Jupiter in Cancer, where that Mercury retrograde will be happening. But now we're in a new domain. Where do we need to grow now? Wednesday, we have another 9. We have 9 of Cups. So you can think about this card like she's showing off, like, look at everything I have accomplished. This is wonderful. Look at my growth. Same exact energy, but now we're not in Pentacles. We're not in an Earth sign. We're looking at Cups, which is water energy. This is our relationships, our intuition. What is the status of your psychic abilities? Are you listening to your gut more or enough or at all? And what does the balance look like? It seems like because we're getting a lot of earthy themes, earth and water, just for context, go together. We're in a complementary by card trajectory here, but ultimately with the cups, we're wanting to know, is everything that we're saying is making us feel secure? How much of that has to do with our relationships? Because maybe part of why we feel we're in the seat of power, really grounded, is because we've made these very specific changes to our relationship dynamics with others or with ourselves or with our higher selves or spirit team. In the astrological news on Wednesday, what we have is the moon going into Aquarius. So this is air sign. So what we have with the moon throughout the week is sometimes matching, sometimes totally not. It's a very different energetic signature. When we are talking about Aquarius, people tend to think Aquarius is a water sign because it's the water bearer and there's those visuals. Aqua sounds like water, but it's actually not. It's an air sign. So you want to emphasize the Aquarius part. So it is an air sign, which is about the thinking, the communication. So I believe that that's part of why we have a bit of that transition here. We're joyful, we're abundant, we're expressive. Oh, I'm so ready for the new chapter. What's that going to look like? That is the Aquarian energy that's wanting to build, to innovate, do something new, do something different. So we have that feeling of excitement. We're looking at what has worked, where we have been successful. And we can continue with whatever has been a success for us, but whatever has not been, remember, this is a 9 going into a 10, which means there's that tiny little extra piece of room for improvement. Thursday and Friday, the moon is still in Aquarius, so keep that in mind that there's no major astrological updates to discuss. So we have an air moon that is strategic, that is planning, that wants to do something new. So for our Thursday card, what we have is Page of Wands. We're really staying in the same zone number-wise. This is very interesting. So we've been talking about 9s. There's a 10, and then you have the page. So this is like we're skipping. This is like the equivalent of 11. So we're skipping over 1. We've been talking about, we're not getting the satisfaction of a 10, but we're getting the 11. And we have a new element here. So wands are fire energy. Fire goes as a companion with air. And it's a little bit hard to see just because of the lighting. It's a very dark and overcast day here. So the woman is holding essentially like a burning sage. So it's like she's giving an offering. Whenever we have a page card, not in the exact same way, but kind of similar to when we have a 1. A 1 is the beginning. And a page is like the beginning of that journey. We've done all of the developmental work of 1 ace through 10, and now we are moving forward. When we get to the knight, that's about action, but this is about the initiation. It's the beginning of this certain path that's more advanced, more sophisticated, if you will. And when we're talking about wands, what I'm being brought back to is remembering where we started. At the beginning of the week, we're feeling secure. We're feeling supported. We're then celebrating it. Then we're looking for, what's a little bit of what's next? Be proud, but what's next? And here we're saying, the seed of inspiration. This is what's next. We are having the spark, the flame that is wands. And then this again isn't about action, but it's us at least figuring it out. So it is working very much with what has come through since Tuesday, but going into Wednesday when we have that elemental change. And then we're like, oh, okay, I think this might be the way that I want to go. That's where we're at. It's not about the idea. It's not an epiphany. That's not swords, but it's the inspiration. So it may feel kind of like there's an overlap, but it's excitement. It's an excitement. It's like a tingling, the prospect of, okay, this is insanely perfect. I can't even get over this. We have another page card since Page of Swords, what I was just saying. So again, to back up, Thursday and Friday, no explicit change. We're still in the same moon sign. We're gearing up for activity, definitely happening Saturday. That's like the next big day. But we have two pages. So the Thursday, Page of Wands. Friday, we have Page of Swords. So this is a really spot on storyline. What we just did on the Thursday was the seed of inspiration, the excitement. Oh, maybe this is the way it could go. And then with the Page of Swords, we're actually thinking about it. What might that look like? How can I pick it up, that idea, and look at it from all sides? What might my steps be? How could I get there? We're wielding our sword, we're wielding our mind to leverage us to move forward. Again, we're still not technically taking any action. We are inspired, and then we are planning what it is that we are going to do for this new leg. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. So next we have another swords card, and we have the Four of Swords. In this situation, one might have thought, okay, we're thinking about our idea, we have a Page of Swords, now we're going to take action. Nope, just kidding, joke's on us. Because with this card, what we're doing is we are laying that fourth sword down. You can literally think of this as a meditative state. When we have fours, fours are a square. Wow, I can't make a square. Square. Fours are a square. And we're looking for that stability again. We're trying to tap back in, remember where we were on Monday, what we've been thinking about. This is a very steady progression this week. It should feel like a gradient. It is gradual. We are evolving joyfully, but calmly, but thoughtfully. So we're at the extremely thoughtful portion of the week because we've been working through our ideas, working through our potential process on Friday. And then Saturday, when we get here, we're really meditating. I like to say marinating on this idea. We don't need to rush into it. We need to really sit, make sure it's good, that we feel secure with this. I am getting to read a little passage. What are we adding here? Beneath her rests a single sword. That's the one that's laying down. The symbol of one particular force or energy that still remains unresolved, lingering on and waiting for, this is releasement. I just thought it was release, but apparently not. But yeah, this is meditative. It's really much about rest. So this is signaling that maybe at this point we have been strategizing, we're thinking of something. It's not that it could be a loose end, but it's that one piece, like what I was mentioning earlier. We have the nines, we're trying to get to the 10. It's the same type of feeling here of what is that last piece? I just want to go inward and really make sure I have thought through my plan and I'm not missing anything. So we're thinking through it on Friday. We feel like we're clear, but let's rest and sit on this, literally, meditate, See what comes through in your dreams. See if there's anything else that surfaces. We're not forcing it, we're allowing. And the really, really notable news astrologically on Saturday is we have kind of a double whammy right in the morning time, Eastern. We have the Mars and Uranus conjunction happening in Gemini, air energy. And then we also have the moon going into Pisces. So we've had that Aquarian moon for quite some time now, and that's when we have that shift. So what we're pulling in here is the air energy with that conjunction, with which is what's so nice. We're talking about maybe not do something right away. That is Mars. Mars is action, but we're not being asked to do something right now. Because when Mars is conjoining Uranus, a planet of change, ruler of Aquarius, what we were talking about earlier, this is a culmination. We're wanting to take action on change. And the energetics here are actually encouraging us kind of to fight that and not just leap and go do something. We want to see what sword might we be missing? What idea have we not thought of yet? And as much as our impulses are really throwing us towards the deep end, what should I say? What should I do? How should I speak differently, communicate differently, travel differently? What do I need to massively overhaul in my life? That's a really tall order and a big ask. And we're actually being encouraged to take a beat on it, not get thrown off the axis from this nice gradual journey and just stay sitting in that. Remember last time we were sitting? Monday. We're trying to sit again, sit in the pocket of it and not running off and going to make a potentially impulsive, because of Uranus and Mars coming together, action. When we have the moon going into Pisces, I think that's also nice and really complementary here, because maybe when we're sitting in a meditation or in rest, we can have those insights come through. Pisces is a very intuitive sign, as a creative sign, to thinking out of the box just enough that we might identify what that missing piece is. Last but not least, on Sunday, no new astrology, but as I mentioned, we just had an event that is packing a punch and will be rippling into today, if not many coming days. Well, we have the Eight of Cups, so we're back to our Cups cards again. This is what I like to call the eclipse card. And you can kind of see we have a little bit of that, the planetary alignment, we have the dark, we have the light. This is a transformation card. It's representing what an eclipse represents, a beginning and an ending. Massive overhaul, massive change, which is what we were just talking about with that Mars-Uranus conjunction. So this seems to be feeding off of the energy of the day before. It seems like we are, quote, allowed to start implementing some changes, big fundamental changes on Sunday. We're just pausing. We're in suspense. We're waiting just a little bit longer on the Saturday. If the impulse is coming through, it's like we're holding our breath a little bit. We're trying to relax into it, see what else comes up, and we can unleash on the Sunday. What an interesting spread we have. So I'm going to do part recap, part analysis kind of as I'm going. Monday, we have the Emperor. We're feeling grounded. We're feeling secure. Tuesday, we have the Nine of Pentacles. We are joyful, doing a jig. Wow, look at what we've accomplished. Look at how I have benefited from the work that I have put in to make myself feel secure. How can I prepare to grow on this next chapter, this new journey? Jupiter entering Leo. Wednesday, we are assessing, we're evaluating. Wow, again, look at what I've accomplished. Look at how my shifts in my relationships with myself, my spirit team, other people around me, my environment have contributed to what I have been feeling and what I have accomplished. But what else is there? What else might I want to change or do next? That brings us to Thursday. We have the seed of inspiration, this idea, you know what, I think I might know what I want to do next. I'm feeling inspired. There's a spark of something within me as I am learning from this new journey, which we're kicking off within the last 24 to 48 hours. Then the next day, Friday, we're kicking this idea around more. We are breaking it down. We are planning. We're being thoughtful, intentional. How might this actually work? Let me fully understand this seed of inspiration and make sure I can turn it into something that makes sense for the long term. Then we think we're going to do something about it, but we don't. We have to pause. We have to rest. We have to sleep on it, literally and metaphorically. We have to make sure that we have checked everything and there's nothing else that we're missing. There could be one other detail. What have we maybe not considered? And as much as on Saturday we have a lot of energy through the astrology with wanting to make really sudden, bold, fundamental change right now, we're being asked to pause, to keep thinking over this idea, rest, and allow the clarity to come through us. So then when we get to Sunday, boom, gigantic change. Let's go for it. Unleash the Kraken. In this situation, we are unleashing that pent up action energy that we've had for the last 24 hours and wanting to go do something that's really different, that's big, and that is going to help us. It's not just change for no reason. It's helping us when we go back to that Jupiter and Leo energy, like excitement for something that is new, where we have an opportunity for growth. These nines are, we're far in the journey. These pages are, we're ready to go on this new chapter. This is the bulk of the week right here. That's 4 cards out of 7, all right in a row about, wow, look how far I've come. What could I do next? And how can I get there? That's what we're asking ourselves, working on this for days. And then, of course, we have that push. Okay, let's reflect on that. Make sure we're extra certain that this is the way that we want to go before we just go for it. And I do love the parallel here, or the contrast here, that we start on, we're so grounded, we're so secure. Wow, this is great. Things are stable. And then we end the week on, let's do something totally different. Like, let's go for it. And again, this is not meant to be an impulsive energy because we have thought, we have reasoned, we have gone inward all week long between these 2 cards to get us to this point where we're really ready for massive change. Looking at the signs and symbols, we have 1 card from the major arcana. The other 6 are from the minor arcana, so that is of significance there, that this has more of a larger chapter weight to it, and the others are like little plot points along the way. Element-wise, we have 3 earth, 2 water, and 2 air. So that, if you're keeping track, is no fire. But we have some fire energy going on astrologically because we have Jupiter entering Leo on the Tuesday, very, very early in the morning. So it's nearly the entire week. That's a huge growth in fire energy. For those minor arcana cards, other than the 4 that was kind of floating off by itself, we did keep our pattern here of numbers and people cards, face cards, that are pretty close. They're most of the way through the journey, but they're still in the process of development. What we had was an 8, then 2 9s, skipping a 10, and then 2 pages, aka 11. So they are all in sequence, and many of them were next to each other, if you will, but the 8 carries such a different signature that it's okay that it ended up not going in order because we were starting from a very, very different place. No Insight Timer classes this week because we have the holiday and I didn't want my schedule to be too crunched because I am taking some time off. But I will be back on the Monday, July 6th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, where I'm going to be doing my monthly mini psychic readings class. If you would like an opportunity to receive a free mini reading during that time, then make sure to attend. And otherwise, if you want to guarantee that you'll receive a reading, consider going to my website where I have my writing questions. I answer those within 24 hours via email. And then I also have my 60-minute live readings with or without cards, up to you. You can choose. Do you want Oracle? You want Tarot? You want a combo? Do you want neither? And if you are someone who is local, happy to coordinate doing a meetup in person at a neutral location. But otherwise, they are virtual, they are recorded. So I send you the recording like pretty much right after we get off the call. Once it downloads into the system, I send you a link that you can watch back for a whole month or download immediately, and then you can have it indefinitely to watch it back. Because this week is also featuring a new calendar month, don't forget to check out my 2026 Life Path calendar. Not too late to get it. I am selling that for 50% off because we're halfway through the year, but you can still use it going backwards and going forward. So you can get some insights into July as well as all the future months. You can also check out my blog if you want to listen to on Insight Timer or in the embed in the blog post my July month ahead psychic forecast. And also, I will have already recorded last week my July 2026 astro weather forecast and put out at least one video by this date. So you can check that out and learn more about the astrological happenings of this month.